morning, my friends. Yes, this is a live edition of the Flipside coming to you on this Monday morning, February the 3rd, a little after 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Broadcasting live from Rosarito Beach, Mexico. Let me explain a little something about these podcasts. These podcasts are done when I have a fairly confident assessment that the internet connection will remain consistent during a broadcast. There are numerous pluses to living south of the border. The major negative is there are some things that you have to, shall we say, do workarounds on. Doing a podcast, one has to do a workaround, and that is to figure out when is the best time to be able to do a podcast without having an internet connection problem. So whenever I see that window of opportunity open and there is something of import in which I wish to pass on to you, let's start off by saying this first week of March, we are going to see some pretty wild gyrations in the market, not because of the problems in the Ukraine, but we get the big jobs number on Friday, so there's much speculation between now and Friday as to what the Fed's reaction is going to be to whether or not it's a cold or a hot jobs number. There's no question the market is reacting to the events in the Ukraine this morning. Currently, we have gold up $32. Yes, you heard that correctly. Dow currently off 200 points. The VIX index, also known as the fear index, also up substantially together with oil. No shock or surprise there. There's no question the events taking place in the Ukraine could be a black swan event, as many have pointed out. On my website today at robbyknoll.com, you'll notice that there are sparse articles that I posted for today's edition. However, I did post a video that was done over the weekend, an interview with Eric Sprout, who gives a great analysis of the problems in Ukraine, together with what he sees for both the gold and silver market. There's no question gold has $1,400 in its sights, and although I have no problem in seeing gold get to $1,400, I want to draw your attention to something else, which I find interesting and informative, to say the least. I have to take you back a week ago. Last weekend on Saturday, the Financial Times published a story about a analyst firm that had been looking into the question of gold manipulation via the setting of the daily price of gold and silver. They came to the conclusion that based on the banks involved in setting the daily gold and silver price, that manipulation of the price of gold is a distinct possibility. Now, there have been numerous people, well respected over the years, who have presented factual evidence proving beyond all reasonable doubt of the bullion bank's manipulation of gold prices. However, publications like the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal, and many other so-called mainstream financial publications refused, or shall we say declined, to pursue the story of clear and blatant manipulation of gold and silver prices. As a matter of fact, they hardly paid any attention to the conclusive proof that Barclays Bank and Deutsche Bank were in cahoots in manipulating LIBOR and subsequently paid billions of dollars in fines. The thing that I find of interest right now is that a number of publications, heretofore always negative on the gold manipulation story, are starting to publish the findings of this analyst group headed by a professor over at the Stern School of Business at New York University, Albert Metz, who also happens to be a director over at Moody's Investor Service. He stated that the structure of the benchmark is certainly conducive to collusion and manipulation, and the empirical data are consistent with price artificiality, it says in the report that he has submitted, but as yet has not gone into publication. So, my friends, there's no question that those of us on the alternative media who have for many years reported on the blatant manipulation of gold and silver prices have pretty much been 100% correct in our assessments. I'd go so far as to say our level of accuracy far surpasses that of anything produced by the so-called mainstream media at CNBC, MSNBC, and the like. And let's not forget Goldman Sachs, who some 6 months ago put out a note to clients saying that a gold short was a slam dunk investment. Well, gold has risen a couple $100 ever since they made that recommendation to their clients. I have no doubt in my mind, as John Embry says, that we are in a unique time in world history where it's not so much that a black swan event could bring down the whole house of cards, but we are living at a time where there are numerous black swans hovering overhead. As I have said to you on many occasions, one of the guys I have followed for a number of years and have found him to be not only accurate in his predictions, but gives amazing insight into the world of finance, is the founder of Matterhorn Asset Management out of Switzerland, Egon van Greyes. Egon feels that we are currently standing on the edge of a precipice. He bases his thesis on how much fiat currency has been created during Bernanke's reign as Fed chief. And he points out that Bernanke managed to more than double the U.S. debt from $8 trillion to $17 trillion. And he reminds you that it took the U.S. over $200 years, I should say, to go from 0 to $8 trillion in borrowings. Bernanke managed to do that in just 8 years. The collapse of 2008 was nothing more than confirmation that the financial system was bankrupt. This is when central banks collectively around the world came to the conclusion that they could print their way out of bankruptcy. Because of this policy of governments and central banks worldwide printing unlimited amounts of money, that it's ultimately going to lead to a hyperinflationary depression. He also feels we will witness social unrest, famines, and wars. And he's trying not to be too much of a pessimist, but all one has to do is look around and you'll see social unrest in Argentina, Venezuela. You'll find famine in Southern California, and you will find wars, too numerous to mention, in Africa and the Middle East. As he points out, and I think it's probably the most scary thing, is that in the past, hyperinflation has been limited to individual countries. We've never had to deal with a worldwide hyperinflation scenario. And because of this unique event, he feels strongly that there will be a monetary reset and a new reserve currency, which will include gold, will be introduced. The last major reset, for those of you who've followed Ergenwald Greyers for any period of time, are aware that that happened shortly after World War I, prior to World War II, with the introduction of the Bretton Woods Agreement. There is mathematically, no matter which MIT economics professor you speak to, mathematically there is no way possible for the world's debt situation ever to be repaid. So it's pretty obvious, in order to avoid complete global chaos and instability, a new reserve currency will be created. The thing is, my friends, is it has already been created through the Bank of International Settlements and the IMF. It's called SDR, otherwise known as a special drawing rights. And special drawing rights are instruments that are made up in various percentages of the world's fiat currencies. The dollar, the Swiss franc, the Japanese yen, the Chinese yuan, the euro. Currently, that basket, the largest percentage, is the dollar. It's pretty obvious that China is currently sitting with a winning hand based on its acquisitions of gold over the past few years. And this is just a small reminder that in the big scheme of things, my friends, there is very little physical gold available. The folks over at King World News have done many important interviews on the subject of the non-availability of physical gold, so there's no need to bore you with those details right now. But it's safe to assume that Western central banks do not have any gold left in their vaults. At some point in time, this is going to come out. And when it does, there's no question, panic is going to take over the gold market, where unlike today, you have witnessed a $23 movement in the price of gold. It hasn't really caught anybody's attention. But when gold starts rising several $100s a day, trust me, the reality of how little gold is out there will shock a lot of people. As Ergen van Gryers points out, what you will immediately notice is the increase in premiums that people will be willing to pay to own physical gold. Let me give you an example, recent real-world example. India attempted to stop the importation of gold into India, and so it raised the taxes on the importation of gold. All that did was it created a huge underground market for gold in India, where Indians were quite willing to pay $150 over the spot price of gold for a 1 ounce pure gold coin. I have no doubt in my mind, because we've already, and this is not as though we have not seen this before. Let me take you back a few years ago, when silver was on its march to $48. The premiums that folks were getting for 1 ounce American silver eagles on eBay was mind-boggling in the prices that some folks were willing to pay for a 1 ounce American silver eagle. Premiums exploded by some $5 to $10. It would not shock or surprise me to see the premiums on 1 ounce gold coins climb by hundreds of dollars as soon as the reality of how much gold is physically out there. And let me leave you with this. Gold is not an investment vehicle. Gold is insurance, pure and simple. And just like you need to shop for insurance, you also need to shop around when it comes to buying gold and silver. It is my hope that through the radio programs that Jeffrey Bennett and myself do on a daily basis, that when you have a need for or want to simply get some questions answered, to give Jeffrey or myself a call at 855-289-7587. If you want to send us an email, on my website at robbinold.com, right under the Flying Eagle gold and silver logo, you will see Jeffrey's name and my name. You click that on, it'll automatically take you to a email application, and just fire off a question, and we'll be only too happy to answer it for you. Who knows, we could save you a lot of time, money, effort, and anxiety. The time to find out about what you have is not after the fact, but before the fact. Anyway, my friends, I think I've stretched my luck with this particular podcast as far as I can. And let me just remind you, coming up this afternoon, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Micro Effect, I will wrap up the day's events. And let's see if I figured out how to exit with some music. Oh, there you go.